Hey everybody, this is Don from Uplift Herbs. Thanks for coming back to the channel. So, I have a highly requested video today, and by highly requested, I mean by me and by them. So, today we are talking about Santa Muerte and La Virgen Guadalupe. Come on. Do we even like this light, Mom? Okay. This is something that I've had on my soul and my spirit for a long time, and so I am just going to kind of talk at the camera for a little while. If it resonates, let me know. Leave a comment down below. If you don't understand something I said, leave a comment down below because you want to. Just leave a little emoji. Let me know you're alive down there. CPR check. I want to first give a disclaimer. And then I'm going to tell two stories halfway through that meet up together to make one full story. That makes sense? The disclaimer. These spirits have been present in my entire life. However, I have only venerated Guadalupe my whole life. Knowingly. I say that very intentionally because Santa Muerte has always been here and I've always given her her due veneration. Not nearly to the degree that I should have, but she's always been here. I have been actively working with her and venerating her for a handful of months now. I can't really remember. It's been a few months. So this is not speaking from, 15 years of experience with La Santa Muerte and like the traditional understanding of her cult. So there is a lot of ignorance here and there is a decent amount to learn and there will always be more to learn. And I just want to let you guys know, however, the relationship between these two spirits is a meditation that I have sat with and focused on and thought over and literally asked for years and years and years. All right, so we'll start with La Virgen. So Our Lady of Guadalupe is a familial spirit. So my story with La Virgen is kind of hard to pin down because she's just omnipresent. She's just a thing. She's just everywhere. My grandmother, my mother, her mother before that, her grandmother before that, so on, 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 and so on, have served this entity, have served this spirit, have understood Guadalupe as an energy and have carried that banner forward to different degrees, in different ways. Thanks to colonization, it became a lot different. But she has always been here, and so I've never, except for one time when I was 15 and I got really mad at God and everything else and nothing worked out and I didn't understand anything and I didn't have the patience to ask questions and more importantly listen to the answer. I put all my religious shit away, put it all away, and then came back. And Guadalupe was like, because what attracted me back to spirituality was witchcraft, was Wicca and paganism and like a lot of this white Euro-pagan things. And then I started researching and started doing it, and I was like, a lot of this shit y'all sharing aren't really making sense. Like, this does not... And was immediately drawn to this like triple goddess figure. I have told this story briefly, but I was drawn to this triple goddess figure, and then after literally not working with her for a while, which is hilarious because then after like years and years, Hecate swooped back in and was like, hey bitch. But Guadalupe has always been this ancestral mother, this oldest ancestor, as well as the embodiment of life. And I didn't take notes for this, and I should have, but that's all right. So for me, it's hard to pin down my story with her. It's hard for me to tell this whole thing because she's given me so many visions of past lives, and like I have served her under all the different Mary names in different places. She has taken me to a life in Spain. She has taken me to a life in France, a life in pre-colonial Mexico. So she straight up is like, She also works in this like low-key reinforces this idea of your past lives were also your ancestors, if that makes sense. It's a little nuanced, a little hard to like really grasp down, but you get the gist. But with Santa Muerte, it was different. It was different. It was different. So for me, Santa Muerte appeared first when I was, yeah, probably around 15, around this whole like spiritual crisis time. She didn't show up in her Reaper figure, and after years of like reflection on it, my relationship with death starts at inception. Like literally, my madrina, my nina, died when I was literally 3 months old. So it's like death has been around. Me and her, we get it. I understand death. She understands me. We've met many a times. But when she first came to me, I was literally scared. Like, I was literally terrified. And like, oh no, that's evil. Don't, oh God, no, not the evil skeleton lady. Oh my God. All the while literally decorating my room with like these skulls and Dia de Muertos, like sugar skull art and all this other thing. Like, if you know me, I have a thing for skulls. Always have. And I'm like, how did you not realize that she was here the whole fucking time? And then after years of what's essentially ducking and dodging her, and kind of just like, at every attempt she made to introduce to me, I had a skull similar to this. I have an annual tradition of painting skulls, and I have always been drawn to get, you know, one bigger skull and then a bunch of little skulls. And I paint them as ancestral skulls because, I don't know, I don't want to make sugar skulls, so I just paint little plastic ones. They keep much longer anyway. And there was always a big one that got painted. Always a big one. And for a long time, I venerated her with that skull. But I gave her this, like, side-eye veneration. This, like, you're here, and I would thank her for receiving my ancestors, for receiving the people that have died in my life, and for showing them grace, for showing them mercy, for guiding them through the afterlife, you know. But I wouldn't really fuck with her outside of that. That skull broke. She knocked that shit off on the ground, and the only thing I have left from it, I believe, are the 2 hands that went with it, and now they're like a cross on her altar, which is pretty damn accurate. And the reason I'm like half telling both of these stories is because I want to talk about their relationship. I know it took a while to get to them, but I want to talk about the relationship between Santa Muerte and La Virgen de Guadalupe with a little star next to it, in my experience and in my understanding. So the most basic forms is Santa Muerte is the embodiment of death, the personified energy of demise, of the end of life. And Guadalupe is a personification of life, of living, of creation. Which you can take that to a real turfy place if you want to, but it's just like general creation to me. Hopefully I remember to put a graphic on the screen, but if you look at the crucifix, look at the cross, can we look? Okay. I don't know. I venerate Guadalupe as an aspect of God the Creator. Guadalupe is equal to and in line with God the Creator for me. If you remember like the Christian cross, at the top we have God the Creator. The right hand we have Yeshua, the Redeemer. On the left hand, I put Mary Magdalene there because that's his wife. That's the balance of that energy. Making this like middle haven, this earthly realm, this realm of pleasure, the threshold between divine and material, balanced. Now it's a gateway. At the center, I venerate the Holy Spirit. And then at the bottom part of the cross here, which you can say is demeaning, but really it is the biggest part of the cross because so much of this work is done in life. But the bottom of the cross, I represent as Mary, as Guadalupe. So like she's in line and the balance of the creator. She is creator incarnate, literally. Biblical story, you want to talk about it. She was miraculously conceived to St. Anne. Miraculously conceived. It was kind of at the inverse of Jesus, because Mary conceived Yeshua as a young child, as a virgin, like literally in her teens. Whereas Anne received Mary as an old woman, as like, I think 50 or something like that. She was old. And like should have not had children. I love how the Holy Spirit flexes like that though. And when I really reflect on that mystery and kind of step back and really read between the lines of the doctrine of Catholic Church on this same subject, we start to see that like, oh, y'all excluded Mary because she literally created God. Like, you want to worship Jesus, you should be worshiping the things that created him as well. Like, why is his father holy but his mother is not, when they both had to create him, and when she has a much more physically prominent job to do? And like, anyway, tangent, bring it back. Guadalupe I venerate as an aspect of God, and Santa Muerte is still a saint to me. Omnipresent, incredibly powerful, incredibly loving, but is a saint. And I don't really think there's so much of a hierarchy that we can understand, but I will say I was shook to fucking death on Guadalupe's feast day, which, for those of you that aren't familiar or don't come from this like Afro-Latino spirit servicing practice where you understand what a feast day is and it's just kind of an ingrained process. It is essentially a birthday party for the spirit, which is very boiled down, very like consumable to share information like that, but it really is. And so I'm always shook to death when spirits venerate other spirits, when spirits interact with each other, because for some reason I'm like, because like as a person, we have to make such distinct lines between this is you, this is your realm, this is you, and this is your realm, that when these spirits break through those boxes with ease and just intermingle and interchange, it becomes something entirely different. And in the months that I've been really working with Santa Muerte and, you know, serving her altar and keeping that going, it's really strengthened this relationship, and it's given me a lens into their relationship that I had not yet previously had, and it really confirmed the hunches that I have always been shown. So let's go back a little bit. The first skull I had, the first painted skull I have, it is not this one. It was white, I believe, with a red cross on the forehead and then like a bunch of other designs. I was scared. So I asked Guadalupe if it was okay, first of all, because again, if you're not familiar with this, you ask your patron, you ask your head, is this okay? Should I not do this, head honcho? Should I not do this, mom? And she was like, why? Why? That's fine. And so I'm sitting here asking Guadalupe about it. And I'm like, should I invoke Santa Muerte? Should I say a prayer to her? Should I give her water? Like, should I interact with the spirit? She was like, yeah, you fucking should. And then she said something that took me by surprise. She said the words, "Don't you deny my sister." And I was like, and she came through with this very like, no, that is my sister, that is my hermanita, that is my, and through this, I ended up working on a zine, I think last year or something, which is like a mini pamphlet of just like information. It was essentially like a poem broken down into pictures and stuff. It did not come out good. It was not what it needed to be, but it was good for this process. And during this process, they came out and said, no, the title of the zine was called Manitas because they're hermanitas. And the play on words here is like hands. And so it's both a shortened word for sisters in Spanish as well as it is the words for little hands, which is how they both work. They both have very prominent imagery with hands. And the kind of image that I get is like half of them in halved. And so like half is Mary, half is Guadalupe, half is Santa Muerte. And it's like one is the skeleton hand and one it has like flesh on it, and they just like meet together here and hold hands and then just like pray together. Which was the first image that they got me and kind of got me started on this path, this like understanding, this moving forward, this how do I reconcile their relationship? How do I understand them together? And it just grew from there, and it grew from there, and grew from there. And now they have altar spaces that look at each other, that are essentially a cross and can look at each other. And when I walk into my spirit room and come to greet them after not being here for a little while, I can see both of their faces do this and just look at me. And then they turn back to each other and just keep talking. And just keep talking. Which reinforces this very like idea of these hermanitas, these sisters sitting down at their coffee table, at their kitchen table, and having coffee. And just vibing. Just fucking chisme, talking shit. All of it. That's the energy that they have. That's how they interact with each other. They're both very, very maternal. They're both a little masculine. And they both love so purely. There was this meme, I think it was on Facebook or something, that seems quite prominent. Don't know when I seen it, don't know what it's called. But it's a little cartoon of like, and the caption is, life always sends, death gives. But death doesn't send anything back. Which is reflected in how you give each of them offerings. Let's use flowers for an example. If I put flowers on Santa Muerte's altar, those are Santa Muerte's flowers. They will not go anywhere. They will not be put to use on anything else unless it is on her altar. I do save flower petals when I'm instructed to, most importantly. But those will be used for her workings. The carnation petals I have for her are for her amares. There are for her workings. There are for her candles, to dress her altar, to make her incense. But when I put something on Guadalupe's altar, when its job is finished, it goes. It goes wherever it needs to go. I very often make this comment, but Guadalupe gives and gives and gives and gives and gives and gives. And she very rarely keeps the things that you give her. And this is very, very maternal, but she tends to like take what you give and say, okay, well, this child of mine needs it, so here. Whereas Santa Muerte would just kind of keep it. And I think it's very good to like depersonify them in this case and say, well, like, yeah, life gives. Creation just makes and makes and makes and makes and gives and gives and gives. So it makes sense that the embodiment of creation would therefore share the things that she's given and the tools that she has with the things around her, because all these bitches are her sons. Whereas when something dies, it doesn't come back. So yeah, once death gets it, that's death's. Which shook me, this knowledge shook me to my core when on Guadalupe's feast day, when on her birthday, Santa Muerte made an offering to Guadalupe. Santa Muerte made an offering, sent a birthday gift to Guadalupe. It's just a piece of aloe, but it is still something so amazingly powerful, especially because aloe vera is a very, very strong plant for both of them. They both work very prominently with it. Both of them very, very much. And I just loved watching this exchange, like sister to sister is literally like, damn, yeah, that makes sense. And then I guess just watching them have this very tangible, common sense relationship to me has always been like, wow. Shit. Now that I kind of set up this context for you, I want to answer a couple questions that I often get. When I got on my Instagram was how I view Santa Muerte and La Guadalupe as like entities and how I balance them within the pantheon or within my gnosis or what the fuck ever we need to call it today. And I often make the very quick notion of two sides of the same coin because they are life and death. That is two sides of the same coin. And I just love them. I love when they come down together for a reading. If these two are invoked in a reading together, I'm talking shit to you. I'm gonna talk shit. I'm gonna air all your shit out. You don't have any more secrets. You don't have nothing to say. I'm gonna preempt every question that you have. Like, there is no back talk. There is no second. Like, these two maternal energies, your mom and your aunt are gonna sit you down at the fucking coffee table and they're gonna two-time your ass and they're gonna get you. They're gonna tell you what you're doing wrong and what you need to do better. And then they're gonna love you. And I just think that's such a wonderful dynamic. And I love that they just hype each other up. They just hype each other up. That's what it is. So when I get asked like how they relate to one another, I often will say two sides of the same coin. They are sisters. They have a very sisterly bond. Sometimes it gets into this like low-key, sometimes they present themselves as like these lesbian moms over me, and that's a joke, obviously, because they're fucking spirits. But like this dual mom, double moms. And the image that they get with that. And this is referenced in a lot of prayers for her too. In it, there's one prayer where you ask Mary to guide you on your path and whatever, and you ask her that she follow behind you like the living behind the cross and the dead behind the light. And with that comes such a strong image of like me, the practitioner, the devotee, as a child, as an infant, as a toddler who's learning how to walk. And like Guadalupe is behind me, kind of holding me up, helping me, pushing me just a little bit to walk, go, 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 and like putting her arms out and walking behind me so I don't fall. But Santa Muerte is in front of me, like clapping her hands like, come on, baby, come on, come to me, come on, come on, come on, you can do it, come on, come on, come on, come on. And so like this is how they work together very often. And they have the same goal. They want you to live a good life. They want you to live a good life and have a good death. Like, they want you to find peace, to find happiness, to learn the lessons your soul needs to learn. That way you can grow, you can elevate, and you can get better. But they have two different ways of doing that. And one is very in your face. Like Santa Muerte is in your face sometimes. Sometimes it's very like in your peripheral version, but it's still in your face. She is still here. Like, no, it is me. It is me. Where in my practice and in my experience, Guadalupe has been kind of this background figure. If you've seen those Jesus Malverde candles where it's like the big Guadalupe image behind him, and then just his like face in front of her, that's literally the energy. That's what it is. That's how she hangs out with you, and that is how people perceive her on you. She's just kind of this flame that hangs behind you and encompasses your whole body. And rather than just having this like halo on your head, she makes this halo around your whole body. She makes your fucking aura, your auric field, whatever the fuck we need to call it today, sparkle. And I love that. Just some food for thought. I just kind of wanted to ramble about it. I might make a more like concise video. If you want to hear like my story, I guess, with either of these beings, feel free to leave me a comment and let me know. I think the most important thing to hang on to them is that no one is greater than the other. Treat all your spirits, regardless of who they are or where they come from, with respect in a similar vein. Specifically with these two, with Santa Muerte and Guadalupe, don't ever try to box them in. The second you try to put a box around one of these girls is the second they're gonna bust through, and then they're gonna bust your ass for it. Life and death are omnipresent for us. They're literally, that's everything. That's everything. Life and death, everything. We obsess over death, we fear it, we walk towards it constantly walking away from life. And I just think that's very interesting. That's really the only ramble I had for you today. If you are interested in any of Uplift Herbs services, feel free to check the link in the bio, check out our website, check out our booking website, all of the things. I also have traditional limpias or remote energy cleansings open again. I open them for the new year and the end of this year, so if you're interested in those, if you want to clean up some energy and get you started on the next year, check it out. Thanks so much for being here. It is peace I offer you, and it is in peace I leave you. Have a wonderful day.